Welcome, WRESTLEBUDDYs. I am a Joe-Ker. Every month, I'm going to be giving you guys a throwback onto Impact Wrestling, looking back at the last 4 weeks or so. And this session, we are breaking into 2022, so let's see what news, rumours. But before I start, I'd also like to give a shout out to good old JR, Jim Ross, who, as you guys might have known, over in December has confirmed he's overcome his battle with cancer. So congratulations, JR, and all the best in the future. We'll start with the rumours first, as there's very few and far between. The biggest rumours around Impact Wrestling at the moment are that Mike and Maria Bennett might be returning to Impact Wrestling. I've seen confirmation of this on some websites, but until either Mike and Maria confirm it themselves or Impact Wrestling confirms it, I'm keeping it as a matter of speculation. Both joined Impact Wrestling back in 2016, Mike Bennett entering into a pretty huge rivalry with EC3 and famously being the first person to actually beat him by pinfall submission. Mike Bennett is also responsible for bringing Moose to Impact Wrestling from Ring of Honor, and he also eventually gone on to feud with Moose. And as Moose is our current Impact Wrestling World Champion, if the rumours of Mike Bennett returning are true, seeing him facing Moose would be an interesting angle to go on to, while Josh Alexander rebuilds his momentum to finally get his match for Moose for the world title. As for Maria, she joins the Knockouts division and took it over with Sienna, Ali and Chelsea Green, then wrestling under the name of Laura Van Ness as leader of her ladies squad. Maria would rarely wrestle, building up one of the greatest heel roles in the Knockouts division, simply going through actions outside the ring to help Mike Bennett, Sienna or Laura Van Ness win their matches. Maria had literally taken over the control of the entire Knockouts division, and this would see her force Ali to surrender her Knockouts championship after Ali was knocked out onto Sienna, who was the Knockouts champion, during a four-way match. And then this would lead to Maria's biggest match in her time at Impact Wrestling versus Gail Kim at Bound for Glory 2016-2017. Maria is basically probably best known for building Ali into one of the biggest baby faces in the company. The only options I can see for her in-ring work would be tag team matches with Mike Bennett, especially if Chelsea Green, Matt Cardona or Deanna Praza and Matthew Raywald need something to keep them busy. So if the rumours are true, I don't see Maria doing much apart from using her fantastic experience with character development to build herself up and make herself stand out more, if the rumours of them coming back are indeed true. They're rumoured to be scheduled to appear shortly after or during Hard to Kill, but with new talent such as Lady Frost, already signed since December, and Masha Slamovich and Speedball Mike Bailey set to debut, another two former Impact stars coming in would take a lot of momentum away from the talent, which is why I don't see this as concrete news. I think this is more of a rumour. Tommy Dreamer is apparently back with Impact Wrestling. As you guys might know, Tommy Dreamer stepped back from Impact Wrestling early last year due to the controversy caused from Dark Side of the Ring. Basically, Tommy Dreamer gave his opinion on Ric Flair, and it didn't go down well with the public, and so Impact Wrestling decided to let him go, give him some space. If the rumours of Tommy Dreamer are coming back are true, my personal opinion is I'm glad. Tommy Dreamer is one of the most respected members of Impact's team. He's one of the most respected members of the wrestling world. And if anyone in the locker room had any issues with Tommy Dreamer coming back, he wouldn't have done it. He would have turned down the offer. So if Tommy Dreamer is indeed coming back, welcome back, Tommy. And that's all the rumours and stuff dealt with. Su Yung has officially confirmed that she is pregnant. It was confirmed on the last episode of 2020's Impact Wrestling that Su Yung is indeed expecting a baby. She made a return after Brandy Lorraine and Kimberly were found panicking over their recent losses and failure to please Su Yung, and she returned, banished them to God knows where Su Yung banishes people to, and it was then revealed to the audience that yes, indeed, Su Yung is expecting a baby. But what this means for Brandy Lorraine and Kimberly is unknown. On January the 3rd, Rohit Raju has announced that he is a free agent and is now actively looking for other companies to take him on. Personally, this has come as a pretty huge shock, and it has done for a lot of fans, and the outpour of this is huge. It's very mixed from a lot of people. Some people are taking shots of Impact Wrestling, but I don't think this is ended on bad terms. Impact Wrestling has been a solid platform for him since Jeff Jarrett returned and put Impact into the GFW era. And Rohit Raju has been a former X Division champion. He's had a hell of a lot of close calls in regaining the title since losing it. and he could have even been a tag team champion several times. So how much longer he's staying with Impact Wrestling isn't clear, because although he is currently in a storyline with Raj Singh, who's recently returned, and Laredo Kid, it's just sad to see Rohit leaving. So a personal message from me is that good luck, and we hope Impact Wrestling is in your radar in the near future. Sami Calhoun gave an update about his injury on Busted Open Radio on December 30th, laying out how far he's come into his recovery so far, what his intentions are, and what he plans on doing when he gets back from Impact Wrestling. But he's refusing to give an exact date, although he has given us a speculated time when he intends to be back, but doesn't mean he's going to be back exactly on this date. But for those of you who don't know, during September's tapings of Impact Wrestling, Sami Calhoun had his ankle broken during a match, and this had been moulded into the storyline involving Sami Calhoun and Eddie Edwards as they were facing Moose and W. Morrissey, trying to basically dominate the biggest threats to Josh Alexander's world title. From a story perspective, basically what's happened with Sami Calhoun in the ring has never been broadcasted. So from a story perspective, Moose has broken Sami Calhoun's ankle after attacking him backstage, and this has forced him out of action completely. His ankle is completely broken. It forced him to scrap his match with teaming with Jon Moxley versus the Wolves at Wrestling Revolver on October the 30th. Eddie Edwards and David Richards would then take on Infrared, and we would crown new Wrestling Revolver Tag Team Champions. This match is available on Impact Plus and YouTube Premium, so I seriously recommend you check this one out because it was a pretty good match. Back to Sami. Sami has recently had the screws in his ankle removed and is now training to walk independently again, and began to begin his full recovery process. His big target when he comes back is to, as you'd expect, take his revenge out on Moose. As for when he'll be back, he hinted that it'll be before August, and that there will be hell to pay for what's happened. So he might be targeting Moose, but no one's safe when Majora's coming back. And as a huge fan of Sami Calhoun, I'm eagerly waiting for his return. There's been a war brewing between Sami and Moose prior to Bound for Glory last year, and if you follow him online, you can tell he's not letting his frustration and disappointment on missing this slide, carrying on this storyline with all the gears between him and Moose are going, and all the emotions are going, really carrying it forward like a true player to the company. And all this while Moose is getting ready to head to Hard to Kill to face Cardona and W. Morrissey. Sami Calhoun's going to have his eyes on that one for sure. New Japan Pro Wrestling returns to Access TV. The relationship between Impact Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling has been growing stronger over the last few years, but from March the 3rd, 2022, Access TV, the home of Impact Wrestling, will also be showing New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom Live. New Japan Pro Wrestling has had talent such as Finn Juice, the Bullet Club's Jay White and Hikuleo coming to Impact Wrestling, as well as guys such as Moose, Josh Alexander and Chris Bay going to New Japan Pro Wrestling's US-based shows. And this has really strengthened the relationship between the two companies even more since Scott D'Amore and Don Callis took over Impact Wrestling. Chris Bay's introduction to the Bullet Club clearly was a subliminal hint that things were moving forward, and it's clear now that it has come to fruition. The relationship between Impact Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling has outshone anything that they've done compared to their work with AEW. We've seen more variety, we've seen more cooperation, and a much more positive response from the fans across the entire spectrum of pro wrestling. So I'm looking forward to seeing where things go with this, and I'd like to know what you guys think about this too. Moving on to debuting talent. This month, we're expecting to see Speedball Mike Bailey and Masha Slamovich enter Impact Wrestling. Frustratingly, I don't know a huge amount about Mike Bailey, but Scott D'Amore did go to Canada to personally hand him a contract with Impact Wrestling, as he did with Josh Alexander when he was brought to Impact Wrestling. So there's clearly something very special about this guy, and I can see him building his way into the X Division title while Trey Miguel deals with Steve Macklin. And Mike Speedball's been scheduled to arrive in January's tapings, but whether it's at Texas, is the current set of tapings, or in Florida in 2 weeks' time, it's yet to be known. Masha Slamovich made herself known in several appearances on AAW, Wrestling Revolver prior and after her debut at Knockouts Knockdown last year, in an extremely impressive match against Deonna Purrazzo for the Knockouts Championship. She was then signed by Gail Kim later after that match had ended, and the teasers for her have been rolling out since December for a return to Impact Wrestling to officially debut. as a member of the roster. Impact Wrestling have also signed a contract in Russia with a Russian commentary team too when Masha Slamovich was signed, backing up why this is an even bigger and better opportunity than signing Mercedes Martinez, who is now signed with AEW, might have been. We're getting another young powerhouse in the Knockouts division where you can match up with Jordan Grace, Jessica Havoc, Savannah Evans, and Rachel Ellering, who's ready to make an impact and make Impact Wrestling her new home for the next couple of years. So I'm eagerly looking forward to seeing Masha Slamovich. Hard to kill. Impact Wrestling isn't holding back this year with the first pay-per-view of the year, just as they did last year with the relationship with AEW. But this time, it's all about Impact Wrestling, and as the name states, it's showing why Impact Wrestling is hard to kill. So this will once again be setting a very high standard and an expectation for the rest of the year. And while there's only 8 matches confirmed, the order that they're going to be given in here is not the order they're given on the night. It's just the order I've written them down. So bear with me while I run down the matches. We'll start off with Trey Miguel versus Steve Mackin for the X Division title. The Knockouts Ultimate X match between Jordan Grace, Rachel Ellering, Chelsea Green, Lady Frost, Rosemary and Tasha Steelz. Josh Alexander versus Jonah. The Inspiration versus the Influence for the Knockouts Tag Team titles. A 10-man hardcore war between the Good Brothers and Violent by Design versus Heath, Rhino, Rich Swann, Willie Mack and Eddie Edwards. We have Ring of Honor's Jonathan Gresham versus Chris Sabin for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Deonna Purrazzo versus Mickie James in a Texas Death Match for the Knockouts World Championship. And W. Morrissey versus Matt Cardona versus Moose for the Impact Wrestling World Championship. Impact Wrestling's already shown that in 2022 they're not really hanging around, with much tighter taping schedules and tours across the US as we go on the road to Rebellion. The first Impact Plus special will be in February at No Surrender, and every set of tapings from Hard to Kill onwards will be in 2-week intervals. So they're packing quite a lot in a very short space of time. They're going from Dallas, Texas to Fort Lauderdale in Florida, New Orleans, Los Angeles, Louisville, Kentucky, and then finishing off at Philadelphia for 2 days of tapings, and then going on to Rebellion. That's pretty much it, guys. So happy new year. You can follow me on Twitter at JOKEmptyspace. You can check out some of my wrestling articles at WrestleBuddy.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the WrestleBuddy channel. And if you want to, you can also catch me on Total Nonstop Impact on their YouTube channel. Links will be in the description, links will be in the comments.